Okay, so the next definition is bullnose trim. And when you have a wood door or an aluminum door, that material is going to be made or can be machined with a bullnose feature to it. So a wood door, in the previous video for under bullnose, you'll see a round over bit that would be used to do that sort of round over on both sides of the door. You're just going to put that in a router and you're going to round over the edge of the door. Not a big deal. In an aluminum door, that material is going to be extruded. The stiles will actually be extruded with a radiused bullnosed edge. But when it comes to a steel door, I don't know of anyone who actually creates the pan or when you look at a door, it's all steel. Well, there's generally that face of sheet steel. Now, think of the door laying flat. There's the bottom piece of sheet steel, and then there's the top piece, which is the other side of the door. They're called pans. I don't know of anyone who makes a pan or makes the steel door where it incorporates a radius, where they're putting the 2 1/8 inch radius onto the steel. It would be my guess that the press brake, the tooling in the press brake, wouldn't allow for that piece of steel to basically be the press brake to come down, form that steel, forcing that sheet to go completely vertical. I don't know a lot about the manufacturing process, but I don't think it's created in a press brake. Every time that I've encountered a bullnose hollow metal door, which is infrequent to be sure, it's always accomplished with an applied trim. So there's going to be something that's going to be attached to the edge of to the square edge of a hollow metal door. Again, that door is going to have to be undersized to incorporate the applied trim for a bullnose application, and generally it's aluminum. So let's switch to the screen view and let's take a look at all of our supporting information. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Okay, so here is the SDI Glossary bullnose trim, a radius-shaped component applied to the vertical door edge. A typical application would be on double-acting doors. Sure, we discussed that in the last video. If you have double-acting doors, why you need to relieve or radius the edge of the door. Okay, so let's look throughout the rest of the catalog because there's going to be additional information that applies. Here's a great application. This is an application where you have a double-acting hinge. Think the now discontinued Bomber 3029, although I had communication, right now it's mid-September of 2023, communication from Bomber was that they were looking to sell the tooling to someone to make the not only the 170 series bumper guards, but the 3029 tool and die machinery as well. Anyway, this application would require a square edge door here, and you can have a square edge door here too, but again, you would have a bullnose here so that you can minimize the amount of gap here, is what you'd want. Now, I might argue that you could get away with a square edge door in this application because over here you already have a large gap, because the hinge requires a substantial pre-fit in the width, whatever it is. I could show you the template, but this isn't a video on a Bomber 3029 template. When you look at this door in elevation, when you are not focusing on where the 2, 3, or 4 hinges are located, you'll have a large gap there. So when you radius this edge of the door, the purpose is to make smaller that gap. In elevation, you'll have a smaller gap here than you will here. So in this application, a square edge door might just be fine, so that it looks even. Okay, so on this page, they are showing us the different edges of doors: beveled, radiused, rabbited, and then square edge doors. And okay, so that's all that the glossary has to offer us. Now, I reached out to a couple of manufacturers. Seco wasn't the first one. I could have reached out to all of them, really. The first outfit I reached out to was Carpin Steel. They've been in business for decades, a company that would be classified as a quick ship manufacturer. So this is what their radius door edge looks like. Okay, so they're going to make a stock hollow metal door, and they're going to put that right onto, they're going to put this bullnose trim onto the edge of their door. So they've got a specially extruded piece of aluminum for doing that. And it's going to look like you've put an end cap on the door. It's okay for me, but I don't think it's what someone's going to really expect when they're doing hollow metal doors. So be mindful. This is going to be an extruded piece of aluminum, probably in a mill finish, that's going to be screwed to the edge of the door. Now, this is not an unusual way for manufacturers to do it. This is Carp & Steel's way to do it. I then looked in the Seco and the Curry's technical manual, and here is the Seco technical manual. Yeah, okay, so yeah, they don't have, this is what the Curry's manual looked. Yeah, this is the Curry's manual. So they're not giving us a lot of detail here. They're just showing the different ways in which you would have a radius edge door. Now, recall from the prior video, the definition of bullnose for the radius is 2 1/8. That's a 2 1/8 inch radius. Well, according to the Curry's technical manual, they've got a 2 5/8 radius there. So, or hardware will determine the radius. So that's very interesting. That is really interesting that the hardware will determine the radius. I'm going to reach out to them and ask how they accomplish this, how they can accomplish different radiuses, because I'd really want to know. To me, hardware will determine the radius. That means you tell them what radius you need and they can accomplish it. I'd like to know how they do that. So let's find out from Curry's how and what they mean by that. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Architectural Builders Supply is pleased to present you with this recording.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
Curry's.
Well, it depends. It depends. I actually started in 2008 and then was transferred to the Graham division, which was the wood door division, in 2009. And I was there until they sold off the wood door division. And then I am recently back with Curry's as of April of last year. So
you can speak hollow metal and wood.
Kind of, not a whole lot. I can tell you what I can see in the documents. So, yeah. And I was just trying to get a little bit more information. I can't find any of our engineering documents on the e-bevel. I know the e-bevel is the 2 5/8 radius, and it's only used with pivots. I believe we can do other radius sizes if you're not using pivots, though. So I was trying to get specifically what it is that you're looking for.
Yeah. So specifically what I'm looking for is to know simply this. When you guys are putting a radius on hollow metal, regardless of the radius, how are you achieving that? Are you putting on trim, or are you somehow with a really cool die set in a press brake? And it's purely academic in terms of the source of this. What I'm doing is I am creating a video for every SDI definition, every entry in the glossary, and now I'm on bullnose trim. And everybody that does this does applied trim. But something out of the tech manual, out of the Curry's technical manual, tells me, well, if you guys can accommodate different radiuses, how are you doing that? And it's just an academic pursuit is all this is.
Okay.
I want to know if this is a press brake or if this is applied trim.
Okay. Yeah, let me do some digging. If it was wood door, I could tell you exactly what it was.
Oh, I would know how we would do it with a wood door too. I've got plenty of roundover bits.
Yeah. Well, and on our wood doors it was a style, so we'd actually buy the style that was already radius. So just
it went through so much paper.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of looking through some of our door plant procedures, and I'm not okay. Let me keep digging through, see if I can find anything in the door. I'm not seeing anything through the door plant procedures, but I might be able to ask engineering. I was hoping to find some things in some of our material specs, But yeah, let me, if you don't mind, oops, it might help if I took my search out. I now that you kind of know what you're looking for, I'm going to keep digging here. Ooh, pivot. These are pivot designs. I wonder if that might help. Yeah. See, and then I might see if one of our engineers might have a document that they can forward to me too. So if just give me a day or two, talk to some people, and I'll see what I can find for you.
I really appreciate it. It's also a situation where someone will ask me about doing radius styles on hollow metal, and I need to be transparent to them whether or not to expect an applied edge.
Yeah, and I know because the e-bevel is you get what you get. We can't change that because that is specific for pivots, and it looks with the 2 5/8 inch radius and specific edges, pivots only, reinforcing, no locks with edge preps, has a 2 5/8 inch radius. Yeah, it looks like everything's a 2 5/8 inch radius. Because on wood doors we did smaller radiuses on our wood doors.
Well, yeah, no doubt. Yeah, 2 5/8 radius is a really wide radius.
Yeah, ours. Yeah, we did much smaller on our wood doors. Yeah, because even our F bevel, which is the radius on one and square on the other. Okay, well, let me dig through some of our engineering documents, see what I can find you. Do you have an email?
Yes, I do. Yeah, it's R as in Richard, then my last name, Howard.
HOWARD?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
At A as in architectural, B as in builders, supply, SUPPLY, .net.
.net. Okay. Let me see what I can find for you, and I'll be in touch.
I really appreciate the legwork. Thank you very much.
Yep, you're welcome. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, now moving through this video, the conversation that you just heard, I received the answer from the manufacturer, and here's what it is, and then we'll switch to the screen view and we'll take a closer look. The customer service rep, tech support individual said, here's what I was able to find regarding radius edges. Attached are drawings showing inch and 5/8 and 2 5/8 examples. When I asked one of our engineers, this is what they advised. Here's the answer. Our radius edges are the lock and hinge channels. No trim pieces are attached. Great. So what that means is when they create, obviously somehow they are taking, I'm imagining they're taking flat steel, they are creating the styles. They've got 2 sheets of steel. Then they're taking flat steel that's a certain width and length and putting it into their press brake. Those components get brought in to the 2 pieces of steel and obviously welded with the top and bottom channels. And those top and bottom channels would likely already be punched on probably a CNC turret, a CNC punch press, for creating the preparations for the reinforcements that they'll put in. So it's pretty exciting. Let's switch to the screen view and let's take a closer look at what they've provided. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, there are 2 drawings, and they're basically all but identical. So this is showing a piece of steel that's 2.964 wide, and then the length as required. They're putting this into a press brake at 0.68 inch from either end. There's going to be numerically controlled backstops to be sure. They're going to put a 105-degree bend here and here to achieve this bend here and this bend here. The final bend is going to be right inside of here at 150 degree to give it this type of perceived radius. So it's not a radius as you would see in a wood door application. All right, let's pull up a drawing here just so I can give you an idea. So a radius is obviously going to be something like this. Okay. I'm just eyeballing this. Oh. So, you know, that's what a wood door is going to look like. Obviously, what they're giving us here, and this makes perfect sense, they really don't have, I suppose they could custom create tooling for every possible radius, but when you have a press brake, you're going to program, the tooling is going to define what you're doing, but also how far you bend it with the standard tooling, whatever that tooling would be technically called, is what will give you that. So this, I'm going to guess, is their 1 5/8 radius, because the second document that they've sent us has a larger angle, so I would say that this is the 2 5/8 radius. So same scenario, the dimensions have changed slightly. 2.927, well, that makes sense because you're putting a less aggressive bend on this, so you would need a slightly narrower piece. Your degree here changes 299 from 105, and then 162 from 150. So that this is going to be their 2 5/8. So when you get this door, it's not going to be a true radius like we've kind of insinuated here, but it's going to be something that's going to emulate a radius. And the important part is it's going to work perfectly, because where you get the conflict on a application where what you need is a radiused edge door, it's here. So if we were to simply rotate this object around this imaginary base, that's the trouble that you get into. It's not the center, it's not the center of this, it's these corners. It's that corner and it's that corner. Okay, you get that, you get the idea that the outside corners are what is going to hit the frame. Let's just assume that that's the jam. Let's rotate, select our, okay, right there. It's not the center, it's going to be that outside corner. So if this item were to be like this, you get the idea. The center doesn't matter. It's not ever going to get any closer to the jam than it is right here. It'll never get any closer because all of a sudden it's moving out in this direction. Awesome. So that tells us everything we need to know about this. Let's wrap up this video on camera and introduce the next definition. Okay, so we've just covered bullnose trim, a radius-shaped component applied to the vertical door edge. A typical application would be on double acting doors. Yep, either applied trim or put into a press brake like we just reviewed. The next definition is bullet resistant. Let's move on to that, and probably going to have to call in an expert. Let's move on. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.